What's up, guys? We are an Entrepreneur Enthusiast podcast. I got these guys out here. Tell me about your company, where you guys are from. Introduce yourself to the audience.
I'm Corvain Cooper. I'm a co-founder of 40 Tons, chief brand ambassador of 40 Tons, and I was serving life for 40 tons of marijuana 17 months ago, I would say. So it was about 17, 18 months ago, January 28th. Donald Trump in his last 2 minutes in office gave me clemency.
Shout out to Donald Trump.
So, you know what I mean? So shout out to the Trump guy that shout out to Trump for that. And there were tons of people just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. They had the BET documentary that was pivotal that Nas and Rob Gomes did for me. That was during the Hip Hop Awards. That was pretty big for the push. And with all the organizations, like it's so many to list, you don't want to be like playing tit for tat and saying this organization did this organization did that. And it just was a push that you have to have faith with. Like you have to literally stand on your faith and walk by faith and not by sight when you're facing a life sentence and you're set to die in prison and to never see your family or kids again.
I could not imagine that. I could not imagine.
And for something that you land on the bunk for that they're making billions of dollars off of legal stock.
We're gonna dive into that.
You're right. You know what I mean? So we're gonna dive into my friend of 27 years, my business partner, my go-to guy. He got in front, push. We're here. We get to build an organization, build a foundation, build a brand, build unity, and bring some substance back to the industry.
We're going to unpack that.
All right, because we got to bring substance back to the industry because the industry is built with substance. It's built with the How High. It's built with the Mary Jane. It's built with the Chronic. And we're just trying to bring it all back to where it came from. And that's the
Arizona
market. Too. The AZ is where I made my first million. But we'll get into that. Those pillows and those little bricks. I don't know when the game. We'll get into how the game changed and all these names and all this stuff. But it was only 3 different kinds.
Yeah, but you see where I'm at.
Time.
And
it was Reggie, AZ, Chronic, or Kush. I don't know. It was 4 kinds. I don't know where all these extra kinds came from. But we'll get into that.
All right. And so, what's your role here?
Yeah, so I'm Anthony Allegretti, co-founder and chief operations officer, 40 Ton, kind of the operations dude, the mastermind behind of hitting all the buttons and making sure that things is where they need to be. I've been a 22-year entrepreneur. I eat what I kill. So it's feast or famine for me since I was 18 years old. And I've had every type of job in the books, from sales to ops to marketing to whatever it is. Unfortunately, went to prison over the plant a few times. But after I got out of prison, my 3rd time, I went back and got my master's degree in organizational leadership.
Nice. Where'd you go?
Point Loma Nazarene School in San Diego. And then I went to UNLV for my undergrad.
So you spoke on something, which was the education piece and here in Entrepreneur Enthusiasts, the goal of our conversations is to allow people to understand how to become an entrepreneur, how to get over that hump. A lot of it, as we know as entrepreneurs, you just dive into it. But a lot of people don't like us to use that word, just do it. And you unpack something as far as the education piece. And I'm an advocate of school, not necessarily the learning side of it, but the connection side of it. That's always been my take. Other people have their things, but being an entrepreneur, there's this whole stigma like you have to go or you don't have to go. Either way, you have to build a network if you do go or if you don't go. So that's a nice point. You hit on that because I'm sure then you were able to, even LeBron sent his boys to school.
To be his own agent.
To be his own agents. Like that's that free education. Like I go to school all the time. So speak to that and how you were able to now, because we're gonna get on the education of entrepreneur, that education, but how were you able to apply that side to it?
So I've always been a lifelong learner. So education doesn't just come from the books; it comes from experience. And having experience in anything that you do is what gives you education. What I realized was that I spent so many years of the first part of my adult life building my negative piece of paper, that rap sheet, getting in trouble. What I wanted to do was figure out a way without having to publicly say that I've changed. What could I do to show that I've changed? Well, college is a 4-year commitment. It takes time. And I decided that I wanted to go get a college degree at the age of 30. That was after my 2nd prison term.
How old was this?
I was 30 years old.
I know what year was this?
2009.
So this is kind of before YouTube University.
Correct. This is right on the cusp of it. In fact, I used to do YouTube videos in 2010 and 11 when it wasn't even popping. But so fast forward, I get in trouble. I go to prison. I get out my second time. I decide that I want to go back to school.
Yeah.
I go to UNLV. I realize 90% of the people there are bullshitting their way through college. They're there to party. They're there to be in fraternities. They're there to just like enjoy the social side of college, which is needed. I highly recommend the social side of college.
That's the best part.
That's the best part. But you got to do it right. So what I did was I went to, ironically, I'll dive into this story that you guys will like, and this is a story of perseverance and what
Go ahead, dive. We got all the time you need. Dive.
Yeah. So I show up to the marketing department at UNLV, 2009. Okay, I go to the each college, you have like the College of Business, and then you got entrepreneur, accounting department, marketing department, finance, etc. I go to the marketing floor because it's a 5-floor building, but all of it's the business college. I walk into the head of the marketing department, director or whatever the fuck they were called. I just walked in. I came to them and I said, hey, excuse me, I'm not a student yet, but I'm applying to be a student. I have this idea for an app. Is there anybody that you could connect me with that could like help mentor me and like show me the ropes on what I need to do? This piece of shit fucking shooed me. He was like, he basically was like, we don't do that here. You have to be a student. I'm like, I'm going to be a student. I'm literally in the process of registering. I just haven't selected my classes yet.
Shit.
He goes, he shooed the shit out of me, right? Basically deflated me. I had a choice when I walked out of that office to either go back to the elevator and leave or continue going. I said, fuck this motherfucker. I went walking down the hallway, found a marketing professor that had their door open, knocked on the door and said, excuse me, I was wondering if you could help me. I gave her the same pitch. She welcomed me in, was like, come on in. This is what I want. I want my students to come and do this. I explained everything to her. She connected me with the entrepreneurship professor because she wasn't the one that I needed. But she was welcome.
She made that connection.
So I went down to the 3rd floor, walked into Dr. Runge's office. Shout out Dr. Runge. I love you. I always love you for this.
Shout out Dr. Runge.
Dr. Runge. And most of this is coming from his street smarts and his aggressiveness and his eating to kill entrepreneur skills too. But finish
I appreciate that. So I go down to the 3rd floor. I go to Dr. Runge's office. She's one of the professors of entrepreneurship, which, by the way, she testified on my behalf 6 years later in court. Flew 3,000 miles to talk about my character testimony. This is that professor. We'll get to that. So earlier, I walk into her, I tell her this, she goes, oh my God, you're awesome. I would love to do this. I looked Dr. Runge in the eyes and I said, listen, I'm a 2-time felon. I'm on parole. I don't take this shit lightly. I want to go to college and learn for real. Will you be my mentor? Will you teach me the game? She was like, absolutely. I won her the Governor's Cup. The Governor's Cup is a Shark Tank competition. We won $20,000. It's like this big old trophy. I could have kept the trophy because I won it. I gave it to her.
That's a humble brag because the Governor's Cup is a big deal.
It's a business plan competition. You got to put a 30-page business plan and do your team, do the Shark Tank pitch, blah, blah, blah. So to go back to your question of importance of education, education was massively important. And I realized that I don't need the book smarts. I just need to get that piece of paper and use the interpersonal development of college, working on teams, joining organizations, being in student government. That is what did college for me.
Because all that shit doesn't matter, but it matters at the time. But like how you say, if you do it right, you can leverage those relationships. Some of my closest friends are from just work. They work in different fields, but now we're able to lean on each other because we went through the trenches. Like,
right. You learn Robert's Rules of Order. You learn how to work on a team. You learn student government stuff. You learn what it's like to fundraise if you're in a fraternity. You learn all these things.
And you learn how to get fucked up and wake up and take that test in the morning. Because I've done that many a time.
CV would appreciate this. Like I believe in this is just positive confidence, not ego or cockiness, but I believe that if I had nothing going on, no keep in mind, I'm under federal indictment too while I'm going to college for like the cannabis shit that we're on. About a year into my college. I'm building a charity that's huge to fight child obesity. I'm married with 2 children. I'm writing a book, and I'm the president of my fraternity. If I would have had none of that, I could have been a straight A student. But entrepreneurs aren't straight A students. They're C and B students because they're barely doing what they got to do to get by, but they're using the knowledge to take themselves to the next level because it's about the network. It's not about whether or not A squared plus B squared equals 3 divided by 7.
I literally was able to graduate because I told my teacher I was working for my buddy. I was like an intern at this NFL marketing company. And so I went to my teacher, and because I was struggling with the classwork, and I gave her my whole portfolio of work of everything I did that year. And I said, we're not even learning this. These are the things I'm doing at work. I just need to pass so I get out of here. Like we got a whole magazine.
Did she hook you up?
Yeah, I was out of there.
Okay,
I was out of there.
When they know, they know.
Yeah.
So when you holler at a professor, here's another tip for you entrepreneurs that want to go back to college and get your education.
You went back at 30.
I went back at 30.
It's never too late. Is the whole thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Here's what I would recommend doing. Go to every professor you have in your field. Like, you don't need to go to the fucking your English class or that, right? But you can. Go to your professors in your field, the classes that for me it was marketing, so all my marketing, and go to them before school starts, the semester starts, like that week before, and introduce yourself. Hi, my name's Anthony. I'm here to get this degree, but I want to take this seriously. Here's what I have going on in my life. I'm not making no excuses. I'll be where I need to be, but just know you got a motherfucking real one in your class. And out of the 100 and something people that is in your class that's really bullshitting, when I come at you with something, it's the real. Have that combo, and it will open up fucking massive doors, because they realize that I'm 30 years old. I could do your job.
I could do your job.
You get what I'm saying? And when you let them know that without letting them know that, that's when you can win.
That's when you win.
CB hasn't necessarily been to college, but he's got a bunch of entrepreneurial street experience. So when he walks into these meetings and speaks it, he can use that entrepreneurial street side.
That's the important side.
So it works together hand in hand when you walk into these places.
That's what I was saying. Like when he came with the aggressiveness of going to the professor. That all came with the aggressiveness of him having to be an entrepreneur by himself. So when you have to be an entrepreneur by yourself, you have to just get up and tie your shoes on with no plan today on how I'm going to eat and bring something home. That's where he couldn't take the first no. But a regular person that's just going to school and took a couple of no's, they might have just left that day.
And that's the street side of it. It's like these kids out in Atlanta selling water. They know 100,000 people driving.
No, this one's when you say the water, you're hitting a different point, right? Because my daughter is here right now, right? But this is what I'm trying to tell you. I always say, I even tell her friends, like, I stay by Hollywood Bowl, so I stay in Hollywood, right? So I'm just like,
shout out to Hollywood Bowl.
Shout out to Hollywood Bowl. Like,
it's where
I'm looking like
from.
if I'm just sitting thinking they're going to have 3,000, 5,000 people here today. And I just buy all these waters, get a U-Haul, right? So if it's tonight is the Kid Rock concert, then I get a label maker that says these are the Kid Rock waters. I would cater to wherever place, any concert, the Forum. Yesterday would have been Rams waters at the Rams Stadium, right? So you can at least turn your
100,000 people
to 100,000 people, right? And then you've got a $2,000 investment buying all the waters, filling the U-Haul, and they just quickly to support a $2 water.
Bro, I'm selling socks, draws, water, whatever it is.
The case costs $2.
It's hot right now.
Retail.
It's, right. That's what I'm saying.
Don't get a wholesale account.
That's your own entrepreneur skills. All you're doing is Googling where's the next people where a lot of people are.
Yeah. I think that, but so that's the street side of it, where it's one of those things I've always challenged. Is it learn or earn? Because it takes grit to do that.
It's both.
It takes those things to know.
And you got to give up that pride. You got to go.
Angela Duckworth talks about grit. In her book, Grit.
Now, grit is one of the things, but can you get grit? Can grit be taught, or are you born with grit?
Both.
You know? It's
in you. It's always in you. It's always in you. But you can always sharpen a skill. So getting gritty. So I always say this: how do you practice public speaking? You can't.
Well, you can join Toastmasters.
That's not well, yeah, but you're literally public speaking. No, there's no practicing public speaking without public speaking. That is the practice, which is the work. So being grit,
you're not perfect on your first speech,
right? But you can't practice to the mirror. It's not the same feeling as if you really perform to 1,000 people. You can memorize it. That's different. That's memorization. That's learning your lines. But the actual feeling that you have when you step on stage and you speak, you won't get that unless you do that.
And being ready for wherever it's 5 people.
Yeah,
because it might not always be 1,000.
And that's what grit is.
I've spoken. It's funny. I've spoken in rooms. My first speech I had like prepared. Now I'm at the point where I can talk to as many people without even a script and get on there and know what my endpoint is.
Just I actually hate a script. Actually,
I
actually like it more from the heart and
because it's authentic. It's authentic.
It's too biting. You know what I mean? It's too reading.
I beg to differ because he and I will always this. I think that you should absolutely prepare
notes.
I don't think that you should have like a written script, but I do believe in 1,000% preparing as opposed to just going off the cuff. Because when you're prepared, you're gonna get to pie. And what I mean by that is it's not 3.14. 3.14 is not pie. Pi is 3.14527, etc. So getting to that pi status of eliteness, you have to.
So I've had times, and even no, you do, because I've had times where, and this another thing for you entrepreneurs when it comes to speaking, like you said, 5 people in the room. I've had times where I booked rooms, like when I travel. Anytime I travel to a city for fun, I'll book a WeWorks room and do a workshop. I've had times where 1 person showed up.
Yeah.
I've had some times where 30 people showed up.
Oh, that's killer. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Every time I would go to a city, I would book a WeWorks, $40-$50 for an hour.
Where'd you advertise? Just on your social and WeWorks?
Eventbrite and Meetup.
Okay, fair.
And I would, in Instagram, invite people. Hey, I'm having this workshop. Why don't you come see me?
And what are you teaching?
So at that time, I was teaching reputation management.
Okay.
Now I have this business plan boot camp.
So you had like a 1-hour session type thing ready to go to teach them.
Ready to go.
And then now that they meet you, they want to know more about you and get whatever.
Yeah. And then we became friends. We built relationships. I got the content. Because no matter how many people in the room, I'm pulling out the camera, the tripod, recording my speech, so I'm getting the content. But I was able to gain that, and I learned that's that grit, and that works. Listen, that works globally. Listen, guys.
No, you are right. It works better globally.
Story time.
Idea.
I'll give you more of the game. So we would when it came to finding a audience, Facebook, Google, and YouTube ads will topple on top of a target market. So if I'm going to Japan,
define that again. Say that again.
Facebook ads,
understood,
will cover an area.
Correct.
If I'm going to Japan and I'm looking to speak, I'm going to advertise my brand around Japan.
Oh, geofence.
I happen to be going there. I don't want to use a comp. I want to try to keep it simple for them. But yeah, I want people to just have me out there. So then I started engaging with people, DJs, restaurant owners, business owners,
like literally just DM
in Facebook
and saying, "Hey, I'm going to be in Japan.
I'm going to be in Japan. Let's go to lunch." Now I'm popping up on their algorithm because I've already advertised and they've engaged with me without knowing my ad is going to them.
Then, your ad was from a different account that you were DMing him from?
My ad was from my company account, promoting me,
and your personal account was sending them a message.
Yes,
gotcha.
So now I'm looking at different meetups and things that are in my niche. At the time, it was digital marketing in Tokyo. And where are they? What dates are these? Listen, we talk about grit because you'll be surprised how I came up with this.
No, that's G.
So now I'm in the space where I can meet these people and go to these Eventbrites, invite them to my event, and they either gonna show or not show. Now you got a dude from California that's swaggy, that's going out
in Japan. West Coast flavor too.
Hold up, I hit up people that own clothing stores. I go and I spend money. I hit up people that own restaurants. I go and I spend money. I hit up DJs. I go and I spend money. I'm good every time I go back. I'm good.
I used to do that in the music business. All throughout Europe. Exactly what you told me.
It works. This
just
was
not
a time
at where I was advertising.
This was a time where I almost lost my company. So I was at this time, it was 2014. I still had my company, but I was a full-time Uber driver. And I was like, shit, I could drive for 3 weeks and travel for a week.
What was your call to action to them once you got them?
I was selling my software, my reputation management software.
Got it. Okay.
I was getting that out there. That's how I was able to take my global reputation management software out there.
Got it.
And go to these different companies, different brands, and meet these CEOs because they don't know I'm an Uber driver.
And you had it language.
I speak money.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying your software, you had it where there's
language. There's APIs, that can do that. You gotta pay to play. So I was able to. I found partners too.
You had your shit cracking.
I found partners in those cities.
Yeah,
and I realized that's when I realized the world is global. Oh, I can make money. It's not just $1.
Bro, you could do that and just have your podcast. Like that's what Earn Your Leisure does and did and get it cracking.
Shout out to them. But I know. So I understand the algorithm and how to get that going, but not to highlight on me, but because you got into the grit side of it. You guys have had this 27-year relationship. You came from, you guys keep alluding back to the prison side of things.
And we started with an 8th. I stayed on West Boulevard in Hyde Park in the Blues.
Yeah.
Right. That was back when it was a real big picture.
Yeah.
It was really serious. You feel what I'm saying? So we started there. That's where I originally started at. We got the 8th, flipped it.
Flipped the 8th.
We flipped the 8th.
What kind of 8th was it?
Chronic.
Just an 8th of Chronic.
Like a $20 8th? Yep. You can bust it down $5 each.
And just keep it.
$5 a gram, $10 a gram.
And we delivering at this time. I'm
$20 a gram.
I mean, I probably bought weed from you guys back in the day. I for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like before all this Uber and DoorDash and Weed Maps was delivering, somebody had to deliver that weed.
Yeah.
I'll drive all the way to the valley though if you were spending $100.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So because back then gas wasn't as high, right? So our grind was so impeccable at that time where we wouldn't take any money out. We'll just keep growing and growing and growing and growing until we get to a pound.
That's an important piece to save it. Yeah.
To save it, right? So now once we learned, like, wait a minute, the brick of marijuana, right, you can get for $300 back then and mail it out of town and get $600.
Yep.
For a brick of stress weed that's probably not even weed.
Yep.
You tested it because it wouldn't test for anything.
Yep.
Right?
Arizona.
No, this is before Arizona. This is a brick.
Arizona was
when I sent to Atlanta.
Arizona was the Kush of Reggie.
Yeah, that was like that was the pillow. That was the serious.
Which was the same exact motherfucking shit, but fucking we thought it was different because it wasn't as compressed.
All it was not compressed. All it is, they compress it because sometimes you can get some good Reggie that wasn't as compressed, and you're like, wait a minute, this is some AZ. It's just in a little format, right? So it's really all the same weed.
Marketing,
that's where they marketed it. They can get more over here, right? So they can charge a lesser price. The pillow is so big, they can get less over here, right? So they can get more price, which we're sending out of town and getting the double price because they're on the other side of the world. We're closer to the border. We're getting it closer to the weed. So that just kept going on and
figuring out how to scale it.
We scaled it.
Always got to scale.
After we made it out of the boxes and graduated, they called us the box boys at first because we were saying we made it to where we were shooting 40 to 80 pounds a day.
Wow.
Right, in boxes.
Yeah.
And then the crates start. He initiated and started the crates. And with anything, that's where our brand stands on. Right. Because it's 40 times anything, you're going to need weight. Right.
You're going to need the weight.
You're going to need to move some weight. Right.
Man.
So it went to that. He has like the record because he has a perfect record of not getting any of his crates took. You know what I mean? Like it got he got caught with the 200,000 coming back from the airport, but he never lost a crate. So that's like batting 1,000. Like he batted 1,000.
Yeah, right? all you amateurs getting your next day packs.
Because you want to know what the secret to that was? Where everybody else wasn't doing? Investing money into security. I spent bread to make sure that my op was secure where I took less pump money, but it gave me more longevity. Spending it on that, this is minimizing it, but spending it on the $10 tape instead of the $5 tape, spending it on the $20 thing instead of the $10 thing, making sure that the op was right so that I could sustain. And my uncle taught me this. He said, if you want to be a bandit, you got to live like a bandit.
Yeah.
And we want to be bandits, but we don't live like bandits. We live like we're movie stars.
Yeah, we do.
And that's where shit gets wrong. So, learning how to do that and then taking all that, what he just said, and now we're applying it into real world businesses and learning it as we've gotten older till now we're here.
One of my favorite movies growing up is Paid in Full. And,
yeah, I love painful. That's one of my favorites. So.
Seeing the different,
man, I bet you 5,000. I'll make it in
right now, but that gave you the perspective of seeing what drug dealing really was, not really was, but like it gave you the Hollywood version of, you know, there's two different sides, and you got every business, you get into business to scale. Or it's no point of just getting into business. You're just doing a service.
Yeah, they're doing it on Canaan right
now. So if you as you guys were scaling, as you guys were going through that process, when did you decide? When did you say, and we can sit on this? When did you say, you know what, shit, we got to scale. We're gonna sell weed now, like.
You're talking about when we get into the business aspect of 40 tons, or are you talking about back then?
Back then, because we're going to get to the 40 tons, but because that's a decision to make. Because after a certain while, no matter what you're selling, people are going to keep coming back, and it's going to get bigger.
That's the answer. I think that's where the answer, and that's where the crates come in at, because now you have more customers. So so you got to figure out how to supply more people, because now your 10 sack is turned into 20 pounds a day. Now your 40 pounds have turned to 80.
But you're dealing with real logistics issues that you would deal with in any business. So, you know, prior to that, I had a lot of experience in shipping and being in distribution, because I was in the video distribution business. So in the video distribution business, we had to ship videos and deal with like the whole shipping process of like a legitimate business. The only thing that wasn't legitimate was the inventory. But as far as like running of the business, that's all normal shit. Normal business shit. And so to answer your question, when you're charismatic like CV is, all the CVs of those cities want to meet a CV. And you know what I'm saying?
And then another thing is with entrepreneur skills that it makes you back an entrepreneur, because you're going to have to take a risk. Because the first initial, when I transferred over to Atlanta, I never met the person. Right. So you melt the marijuana. I didn't meet him until after we've probably made $100 grand.
Man.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Like you mail it back then. Back then it's when you do the Western Union. You know what I mean? Like you got 4 or 5 people going to Western Union. Then you build up to different ways of getting the money back. Right. So it's like in 03, that's 03, 04.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So back then you're taking a risk. I'm finna mail you some weed. Right. They're gonna send the money back. Back. So then that's where your relationship is growing on. Y'all relationship is built on money. Without that risk, I wouldn't have made my first $1 million in the game. Right. So no risk, no reward. You got to take a chance in anything that you do.
Got it. So now fast forward after prison. I mean, we're talking about less than 2 years ago.
I'm like 16, 17.
There's this thing.
2 for him.
Are you guys an equity brand?
So we're technically we're not an equity brand in the sense that we hold an equity license, but we meet the criteria of all social equity brands, and we call ourselves social impact.
Got it.
Because we actually do boots on the ground work for.
Can you dive into that and explain what that is?
Sure. So social equity is just a term used by the DCC or any of the cannabis boards that designate a certain license. You're a social equity license if you are a minority, if you grew up in the hood, if you have a cannabis offense, et cetera, whatever those metrics are. But a lot of the times, you could have got pulled over and had, half of a nickel and are from Beverly Hills, and you qualify for social equity because you got that half a nickel charge that got dropped down to a misdemeanor, and now you're equity, right? So equity, equity doesn't. To me, what makes equity is exactly what the word means. How much is into what it is that you're doing. So when you have equity in your home, that means you have value in your home. So what type of value are you doing for the community? We call it social impact. We do expungement clinics. A majority of the proceeds from our sales go back into educating, awareness, and actual programs that we've built. Nice. And we could go deeper into that, but career programs, expungement programs, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's what social equity to us is. And, we're black, female owned. All of us have been to prison on the plant. We're all from the, the bad neighborhoods. So we meet the criteria. We just don't have a social equity license.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And with people that, I'm from LA, so I know how LA's landscape. LA, you could be in one neighborhood and literally
in 5 seconds you're in another hood.
5 seconds you're in another hood.
I had a store. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I had a store on Florence and Gramercy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm on Florence and Gramercy.
Google Earth that right now.
You know what I mean? When you Google Earth this,
it's down the street.
Don't go there. Google Earth it.
You're literally, you're in the fronts of the 6-O's,
yep.
and across the street you're in A-Trace,
yep.
right? And you're 1 second away from the Inglewood families, right? So, Miami, I lived in the 60s,
yeah.
right? So, I got friends from A-Tray, and I went to school in Inglewood. Man. So you have all these type of people that wants to come to the store.
Man, yeah. Right? Just to support.
Just to support, right?
Yeah.
But you're out of bounds. And you're only across the street. And it's a very serious thing. You know what I mean? So to even grow up and try to have entrepreneur skills and to grow up, and then it's like you're from the hood because you grew up in the hood, but you're not from the hood because you're not from the hood's gang. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So,
but if somebody see you, you could be from the hood.
But you could be from the hood, but then somebody like, well, who is he that thinks he's from the hood that you can open a store in the hood? You feel what I'm saying? So you have to go through all these politics to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Navigation.
Navigating through what you're going to do, on what street you're going to even open your business on. Yeah. Because every business that you open in LA comes with some politics.
Always, even if it's not coming from the city, it's coming from everyone else.
They got their own city. Yeah. They got their own city.
Yo, a homeowners association is political.
Right.
You want to, you want to open up a lemonade stand at the golf course community. They're gonna be at you because you didn't pay the HOA their fee.
Man, we was just talking. We had a guy, he sells pudding on the street. He was killing it in Malibu, and his pudding is good. All of a sudden, the city just started like hating on him, because it was like you don't have your permits. But the guy across the street was selling his fruit.
But let me ask you this: if you had a big old property and someone was coming and selling your shit, would you want a piece? As long as it was fair.
If it was,
when they try to tax, that's when it's fucked up. But this world operates on payola.
If it wasn't competing, I know this world is transactional. So if I'm not competing, it's helping.
Loyal ain't gonna do photography for free.
Exactly.
Now, if he try to bust me for $1,000, I'm gonna be like, hell no. But if he come at me and says I'll do it for $500, well then okay, now we got a deal.
We got a deal,
and that's arbitrary. You worth more than $1,000.
Yeah. We just.
But you get my point. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel it. So then it breaks down to that, and so then that's like, okay, well if you know business, even though you're on the not leveraged side of the coin, you got to respect it though, and just get yourself to where you now have the leverage.
Yeah. That's a key. That's a major key right there. So we're diving in, but I want to get a little basic. How does one, because it's one thing to say I have a brand, I have a cannabis brand,
and you got to have something to stand on, because anybody can get a brand, put their thing, put a stamp on.
I'm going to packaging,
go to packaging.
You got packaging. You're on a store. Like no matter what you're selling, if you're selling a bag of chips,
supply chain.
It's hard to get from product to market. Like
know, like right now, we want to be known to the consumer. We're known in the industry, but we want to be known to the consumer. So it's how are we going to reach out to the consumer, right? And the way that we're going to reach out to the consumer is we're starting with restorative justice, and we're starting with doing the work. So with your family and friends that are currently locked up in prison, please contact us. Please go to 40tons.co, right? Because if you will see on our website, we've created where they have their own t-shirts, and we can put your family members t-shirts if you have a family member that's locked up, and they can have their own business, and as we grow, they can grow with us. And 100% of the proceeds go to their books, right? And when we start,
shout out for their family, it's whatever they want.
Right? I got a boy in right now.
On that. Please,
cannabis offense.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, in Vegas, but he a nice dude. He shouldn't be there.
So we can advocate for him. You see what I'm saying? And we can put him out there. And we just started 40 Tons Foundation. Right. So we want to be able to do something, actually foot ground for the prisoners, right?
Got it.
And actually physically get them things that they really need.
That's social impact right there.
That's the real impact that we want to do. We're talking to these people every day. We
might even get a call now.
We might get a call
randomly.
Like next 5 seconds.
It's happened.
During interviews, we've gotten calls, right? So we just want to be able to do the work. We've left the people behind. We felt the legacy market built the industry. If you started at an alcohol industry, right, I would think a moonshiner would own Budweiser or Miller Lite, right? So we're thinking from the same point of view. Why doesn't any of the we sold 40 tons of marijuana, right? We should be bumping into a lot of people that we sold marijuana to. They should be owners too.
I want you guys to speak more on, because there's something about the change in cannabis where big pharma is entering cannabis, and that affects the small business, and it changes the game, and it hurts businesses like you guys.
Right, and we're trying to be ready for that.
Unless
we're trying to be one.
No, I mean, we're
trying to be one of the ones ready.
Well, every business
out their way.
Every business should have an exit strategy, right? You were going to ask a question about like breaking it down to like the packaging, the branding, the this, to that. Go back to that, and then we'll go into
yeah. So how does one then start to then we talked about getting in the industry, but to put together their packaging and get their brand on the counters?
Well, I mean, that's a really deep question. When it comes to cannabis, there's like so many different parts of the supply chain. It's not like, you want to go open up a t-shirt shop or go open up a SaaS platform or go make some peanut butter and sell it. The supply chain is always different, and it's always a variable. So in that sense, there's no industry like cannabis, not even alcohol. There's nothing like it, because we're operating off of a plant, and the plant, even if it's the same genetics, the same seeds, the same everything, it's not grown exactly the same. Therefore, the cost of goods on the wholesale unit of a bulk pound of flour is never going to always be the same. Which now affects your cost of goods. So the first thing is you need to really understand every level of the supply chain in cannabis and how it works. Add taxation, add over compliance, add logistics, add distribution, add transportation, add all these factors. It's a fucking nightmare. So let's just say you learn all of that and you get your stuff to a $10 cost of goods sold. You need to sell it wholesale. COGS, which is your packaging, your weed, how much it costs to put into the bag. If you're making something, the cost, that's cost of goods.
You're speaking like an award-winning business plan writer right now.
I mean, I am a 2011 Governor's Cup first place gold winner in the state of Nevada now.
That's the crucial part of it, that business plan. Like you're diving into it.
But I got to explain that, because it's not like a t-shirt company. If that was the case, you would say, go buy a heat press, have your designs, go buy the shirts wholesale, blanks, package them up, whatever that is, and then go and sell them wherever you're going to sell them. It's not that easy in cannabis. So I would say, like, if taking the cannabis side out of it, you just have to learn the things that you need to learn on any type of CPG, consumer product good, to be able to do that. Get your cost of goods right, understanding what that is. But before you get into any business, you need to know what your consumer is going to buy it for. And since you're not a retail operation, you are a wholesale operation. Unless you own the peanut butter store, right? Unless you own the place that the stuff is being sold at, you are just a wholesaler.
Can you repeat that? If you're not a retail operation.
If you're not a retail operator of anything that you're selling, I don't give a fuck what you're making. If you're not a retail operator, you are a wholesaler, which means you need to focus on how much you're going to sell it to the guy that is selling it, not the consumer. So in cannabis, these fuckers want a 2.5x. Meaning, so if it costs you $15 to package an eighth of weed, right, fully out the door, maybe you're lucky. Part of that $15 makes $1.
Lucky.
That means what's 15 times 2.5x, right?
Looking at like 40.
15
42.
times 2.5 is
37.50,
right? So then that means you need to get, now add taxes. There's another $10 on that.
That's why the eighth costs $60 that y'all pick up for 50, 40.
Okay, but
what's pushing the market back to legacy.
But here's a problem: that $15 cost, you're getting a $900 pound. So you're not getting that real $50 eighth.
You're not.
So you're screwed. So really understanding that, man, is focusing on how you understand your cost of goods as it relates to you wholesaling, so that you can get it to the person that can move these units. Because that's who's important. Now, if you're in the business of opening up a retail, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to meet a ton of 40 tonses, and now I'm going to open up a store like he did. He don't give a fuck whether Fubu's in his shit, Sean John is in his shit, or his own shit. Right? Because if he's smart, he's gonna have his own line, but then he's gonna sell his own whatever it is. So it really is a matter of that, and that is what it breaks down to. And we could go deeper.
Supply chain management is a whole thing, and
forgive me if I'm taking it too deep.
No, you're good. I mean, we like to teach entrepreneurs how to be entrepreneurs and how to be business owners. We're doing a business plan workshop next week, because it starts there. It starts with put it on paper and knowing where you're at, and then being able to then scale it. I tell my friends, how are you going to scale this? If you're doing the work, you're not. It's not a business. You're just doing a service for people, and thank you. But you're not.
You're switching time for money.
You're switching time for money, so you're still working. Like,
you're not making your money work for you yet.
That's important. And how many guys do you have working with you guys right now? How many people?
It's just us.
Just you guys. And that's important because
and obviously, like
you you tag some people in.
Your Fivers.
For like a high five real quick. Come in and on a project. Yeah. I'm saying the day-to-day work.
That's important because you guys are out here rolling, but you guys have your 2-man team and your outsource 3-man team, and then what you guys outsource. But it doesn't just take all that. It sounds like it takes learning.
Oh, we do the job of 10 people.
Yeah,
that's being an entrepreneur. That's a grit. That's a grinder. Yeah,
grit.
And then you got to learn these skills. People take for granted technicians, man. Technicians are needed, and you need technical skills in this business. Yeah. You could go be a PA all you want on set, man, but if you don't know how to run that aperture and you don't know how to, deal with focal lengths and shit, you can't be a cameraman.
Can't be a cameraman.
You know what I mean? So like, you really need to know that. And if you really want to go make movies, then you need to understand how to grip and how to light and how to do all that. And you don't need to be a professional at it, but you need to know enough about it so that you don't get bullshitted.
Yep.
And so that you understand how the final product looks, right? So
you guys have unpacked a lot of information.
Technicians is real.
It was very crucial, and I think the audience is going to definitely receive this. Where can they go support you? Where can they go find you guys?
You can go to 40tons.co. Start there. Learn about us. See the work that we're doing. Check us out and really investigate us first. Start there and read on us, right? Then you can go to 40 Tons Brand. Right?
On all social platforms.
On all platforms, right? So see the work that we're doing. See what we're actually doing first before you even mess with us. I want you to see our stories, see the work that we've already done. Then you can go get the products. You know what I mean? We don't want you to just rush and go get the products, because then you can just get on and go, and you might be a one-time customer. But once you get to see actually physically the work that we put in, we're really the real deal. We're not nothing for play. Everything is certified. 40 Tons. Look up the case, October 18, 2013. 40 Tons of Marijuana, Corvain Cooper. Look us up and see if we're the real deal. See if we're really doing the work. See if we're really talking to the prisoners. See if we're really putting money on their books. See if we really have a brand just for them. So if we're
career conferences, helping people get jobs, the whole nine.
Check our data out first. Man. Apple is built on data, so check our data and see how many expungers we have, see how many people we got a job, see how many lives that we change.
That's important.
From state to state too. Right. So states that we've never even been in, that we're not in. So basically, just look us up, see what we're doing. And and we have a lot to go. We're still in the game. We're appreciative of the traction that we've gotten. We're by no means at the top yet. However, we're coming for that position. And we're here to work with good people, good business, ethical business, doing really good collabs. And you know what? We've stumbled and I call it failing forward. Instead of falling forward, I call it failing forward. And as long as you're failing forward, you got to just get back on your feet and keep trying. And so, we've learned just the ebbs and flows of this cannabis industry just because we are entrepreneurs, and so a lot of the skills are they cross over, but then some don't. And so it goes back to that education. I read every day. I look up when I want to know something, I have to go and research it. YouTube University, and really figuring out how that works, and then taking the skills that I've learned. So 40 there's that. You could also find us at cannabishiringfairs.com. That's our careers platform, which we got
a hell of a domain.
I did it because if someone types in Cannabis Hiring Fairs,
that's what I'm saying.
And then they can see if we coming to a city near you.
It was SEO. To go worldwide. It was SEO.
That's a nice SEO play right there.
So we got Cannabis career fairs too. We got a few different versions of that. But that's where you apply.
Let me ask you, how much was that domain?
$11.
That's crazy. That's a high ticket domain. I mean, even for, I paid $2,000 for a Fluent solution, and then that's another thing. Domains. I mean, how much you can pay for domains?
How many trademarks?
They want to charge 4 bands for 40tons.com. So that's why I got the .co. I was
sometimes you gotta do that. I saw one. I forgot what it was. It was like 20 million, but it was so simple, and I was like, you would just make the money off of it, but
Yeah, like weed.com or something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, there's that. So like really having all that, and I call that goes back to being a technician.
Yeah.
I know about SEO, I know about email marketing, I know about funnels, you know, and that's because I've had to do this for all of my businesses going forward. Like even my marketing degree didn't teach me none of this.
Yeah.
My marketing degree taught me shit like what is the elasticity of consumer demand if they do, that's all bullshit.
Consumer behavior.
How the fuck do I set up a Facebook ad?
Right.
How do I make a website so that I can then connect it to my MailChimp?
Right.
How many, you know what I mean?
How I connect my Stripe and get paid.
Come on, bro. Period.
And really get to the people that's going to really spend the money.
I remember going to my accounting teacher and I was like, and we talked about this a little bit.
Red Panda, shout out Red Panda, Ena Dunlap.
I was like, I use QuickBooks. I don't need accounting. I use QuickBooks. It's gonna do it for me.
Yeah.
Well, what if
I'm actually saving every receipt now?
Yeah.
I have a thing full of receipts now.
Yeah.
But what QuickBooks is gonna get your ass is that if you don't fucking reconcile it at the end of the month and you wait to the end of the year, you fucked.
Shout out to my accountant.
Man, shout out September 15th coming up in 5 days that I got to do a year worth of accounting business.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. I love this conversation. You guys are true entrepreneurs just off of the short conversation we've had, and I think you guys are definitely a milestone for entrepreneurs to want to get into. I'm definitely looking forward to trying this.
We're gonna get a nice care package for you to put together. Round two podcast to continue the combo.
We definitely because I want to dive into business plans. You know, I want to dive into packaging. You know, I want to dive into branding. You know, I want to dive, because it's like so many places we can dive into. And
even just a little dive too. When you're speaking about entrepreneur, just happen to be an entrepreneur in prison.
Yeah.